What's up, y'all? Hope y'all are having an excellent day. So we're going to kick it off with kind of a spicy article right off the bat here. So this is Rolling Stone, and as you can see, we have an article about the Proud Boys. And I'm not going to censor it in this video because it's the main point of the video. But let's see what the Rolling Stone has to say. Let's dissect their spin a little bit here. Something shifted on June 29th. Andy Ngo, self-styled journalist, activist, and far-right provocateur, tweeted he'd just been violently assaulted by Antifa. And if you don't know, Antifa are anti-fascist. So logically, that means that he deserved to be attacked. So he was bleeding, he had a concussion, he had his camera equipment stolen by these Antifa guys. So as we found out in the last video, Rolling Stone uses highly emotionally charged language and also omits certain information in order to benefit far-left causes. And so what they write here is, Ngo has built a successful freelance journalist career on the demonization of leftist activists. He's writing articles and posting videos that are not complimentary of the far left. I would probably assume that he hasn't beaten anyone and made them bleed and given them concussions and stolen anybody's camera equipment. I could be wrong on that. So, of course, you know, here's here's the founder of the Proud Boys, and clearly a very flattering image of this guy, he's a comedian, he's a speaker type guy, used to have a show on Fox News. Very funny guy, by the way. If you didn't know, the Proud Boys got their name from a musical number from the Disney movie Aladdin, which was called Proud of Your Boy. So clearly they're a violent, crypto-fascist, extremist organization, and every element of that title has data to support that, but we're not going to tell you guys any of that data in this article. So let's keep moving on here. There's a total of 111 violent incidents done by the Proud Boys. So this lady, Kuttner, is an expert, of course, on the Proud Boys. She's documented 111 incidents. No details on that, no links to the articles. I've searched, I've Googled, I've really tried to find a link with a list of these incidents that we could look at, and I couldn't find it. Doesn't exist, but let's keep moving down. They're known for espousing violence, okay? But they vehemently and repeatedly denied that it does so in isolation, and has framed whatever violent action it may take as a response to left-wing censorship. I don't agree with that. I don't think that censorship should be met with violence. I don't think anything should be met with violence. This is America. This is the US of A. If you don't agree with the government, you can vote them out, okay? So if they are, in fact, espousing violence, I disavow that and disagree with that. I shouldn't even have to say that. So they talk about their internal rhetoric. Yeah, rhetoric, sticks and stones, like Dave Chappelle says. But conservative media outlets willing to overlook the group's violent tendencies. Again, I don't see a link to the violence. If you have it, please link it down below in the comments. This is just a drinking club. The media is hysterical. And that's what the people on the right are saying, of course. So here they are. Here's the neo-crypto-fascist organization holding up a American flag, giving peace signs, smiling, having a good old time. I'm sure this is right after they left some kind of terrorist attack that they committed. And so after they had this incident where they got in a fight, the FBI classified the Proud Boys as an extremist group. Buried in the middle of this paragraph, the FBI later walked back its classifications of the Proud Boys as an extremist group. However, they have classified Antifa as a terrorist group. So let's get big picture here. Proud Boys are still small. Their membership is approximately 3,000, and that's throughout the United States and Canada. It sounds like really kind of a fringe, marginal kind of group here, but they're super spooky, and they're definitely the boogeyman. And we have the El Paso, we have the Dayton, we have the Portland. It's just thrown in there just to paint a picture and give you a nice emotionally charged narrative, okay? So, of course, now we're going to end the article on a positive note. The Proud Boys will lead to bloodlust. They're gunning for a fight. And, yeah, they're emotionally charged, divisive rhetoric. But, don't worry about the hyper emotionally charged, politically divisive rhetoric coming from the Rolling Stone. No, not that politically divisive, hyper charged rhetoric is fine, don't you know? In case you thought that these guys were just a non-politically correct beer-swilling men's club, there are 111 incidents that suggest otherwise. So, these incidents really happened, and that's why there's no evidence of it whatsoever after doing an extensive search here. So anyway, that's the article. As we go down, 18 comments on this super trending story. Orange Anchor. I'm not on either side, but from the outside looking in, Antifa created these groups by going to right-wing events and brutally attacking people, as you can research and find that out, that's a fact. And we have clearly an Antifa member here. Right-wing groups make freaking pilgrimages to make trouble, and leftist resident made inroads in one of these groups, recording plans for violence long after the protest rally. They went to the bar with violent intentions. Recordings are available. Andy No knew of planned violence and never reported it. Okay, so actually I'm going to give this guy a couple of points. This is true. Nobody's a saint in this story. I'm not saying one side's right, one side's wrong. The guy, Andy No, he's a provocateur, okay? He's just as guilty of omitting information and trying to paint a picture, trying to paint a narrative. But if you disagree with somebody politically, does that give you the right to beat them with blunt objects to within an inch of their life and steal their property? I don't know. I would probably have to lean towards a no on that one. So here's Miss E.J. Dixon, and we can take a look at some of the other articles she's written recently. How MDMA is saving marriages. Waterboarding for pleasure when kink violates the Geneva Conventions. Competitive eating. Oh, okay, so you get what I'm saying, right? This is not necessarily a doctoral degree student of political science here, okay? This is not serious political discourse that we're talking about. I will say, however, looking at some of her other Rolling Stone articles, I got to give her some points back here, all right? She's talking about the opioid crisis and Purdue filing for bankruptcy. That's important. That's relevant. Okay, college admissions scandal, important, relevant. Just so we can paint a little bit of a more nuanced picture here. These are the types of people criticizing the Proud Boys. Misogyny, authoritarianism, and the rise of multiracial white. I'm not gonna say that word, but you can read it. It's right there on the screen. This one I don't understand, okay? The internet has enabled disparate groups from all across the country to find support in their message of Western chauvinism. Interestingly, the Proud Boys seem to have an ability to track men of color, which seems at odds with groups that borrow heavily from a certain ideology. So, but then they don't borrow from that ideology then. Either they're in this ideology or they're not. You like, words have meaning. You can't just invent a word and then say, well, it really means this. This is confusing. And this calls into question this entire narrative that you have this this hate group, and they don't describe themselves as a hate group. And they're supremacist because they invite people of all races into their group. They are uniting over Western chauvinism. So it just seems to me there's a lot of doublethink happening. There's a lot of conflicting information. I don't like it. And here we go on Wikipedia. Far right neo-fascist admits only men as members, okay, which last I checked is not illegal. Enrique Tarrio, the very white guy, is the chairman. Let's look at this list of 111 things which doesn't exist. This is not 111. This is like 15 or so. But let's take a look at it here. Let's see, New York University, minor scuffles. This guy Chapman was recorded hitting somebody with a wooden dowel. There's a rally here which was attended by several questionable organizations here. There was a counter-protest and violence broke out. I wonder who is counter-protesting the Proud Boys. I wonder if there's a group that proclaims to be against fascism of some sort, like they're anti-fascist. I don't know. So then we have a stabbing here, of which the guy says that was done in self-defense. Next up, there's violence that just happened, just violence of New York City. And, you know, somebody recorded video of violence from one of these rallies. Again, not a lot of specificity. I'm sure you could go see it if you want. Okay, next we have a disruption of an indigenous people's protest. Somebody said to the indigenous protesters, "You are recognizing your heritage, and so are we." You can look that up yourself. Republican Club, somebody made an Asian joke. There were anti-fascist activists protesting outside the club and engaged in vandalism. Somebody threw a bottle at Proud Boys, resulting in a fight. So that looks like it was also self-defense. You know, maybe it wasn't. Maybe they started it. Maybe they both started it. This is what happens when you have divisive political rhetoric everywhere you turn, including in the Rolling Stone magazine. You know, there's going to be more violence in general. You know, tensions are going to be higher. So if you just stick to music and you just stick to positivity, probably none of this would be happening. There was arrests in connection to the incident here, so this is all one thing, all right, not a separate thing, about the security cameras and all that. A threat to the mayor in a Facebook post. Okay, so really neo-fascist, horrible Facebook posting. There's a connection to, we'll ignore that because that's not violence. Lawsuit, not violence. A website, store, shop, online, not violence. Another lawsuit, not violence. A demand free speech rally. And of course, these guys are so evil because they're in favor of free speech. And, you know, McGinnis had a joke. And wait, that's not even spelled correctly. Get it together, Wikipedia. He appeared in fake handcuffs, symbolizing the bans that Proud Boys and other far-right groups have received from social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter. Okay, so minor skirmishes, no arrests were made. What are we up to? Like, what, 2 or 3 violent acts? Menacing critics, okay, taunting soccer fans. You guys serious? Another rally. The event with at least one group urging its members in advance not to attend, and ended with the Proud Boys requesting a police escort to leave. It seems like they're being attacked and asking the police to protect them in this situation. Volunteer fire company. Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see a fight. I don't see a murder. I don't see a shooting. I don't see. No, I see. You know, here's another hearkening back to the wooden dowel incident, which sounds like kind of the worst one. So we had a wooden dowel, we had a stabbing, bunch of minor skirmishes, violence erupting and breaking out just randomly, just surprisingly. It must be the fault of these guys who are, you know, not politically aligned with my radical ideology. There's the story. There's the spin. So you can see it. Sorry to start off episode 2 with kind of a controversy here, kind of a spicy tale. But I'm not giving you a hot take. I'm not giving you any extra spin. I'm trying to lightly unspin the information put forth by the Rolling Stone. All right, let's take some of the emotion out of it. And if we don't, I feel like this is going to get worse and worse and worse. I mean, they're trying to paint this like it's some sort of apocalyptic scenario, Yet it seems like things are not as bad as these guys want to believe. Let me know what are your thoughts on all this? Are you aligned to the right or the left? Are you straight down the middle? Can you see the negative pitfalls of both of these groups, the Antifa and the Proud Boys? Honestly, I feel like the media at large is trying to create an equivalence here, whereas Antifa has been around way, way, way longer. They're way, way more known for engaging in counter protests, shutting down events, shutting down speakers, being opposed to free speech, engaging in not only way more violence, but violent threats, as we read here, vandalism. So it's like you can't even compile a list of Proud Boy violence without necessarily including at least just as much Antifa violence. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. We'll keep the conversation going. How do you deal with the fact that people are going to read the media they're going to read, and they're going to be inculcated with these types of biases and this kind of colored language every single step of the way? And what effect is that having on our country? What effect is that having on our national identity? Do we even have an identity anymore? Is apparently being American is offensive now, and they clearly are displaying the flag as an example of that. So are these people living in real life? So that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like I said, leave a comment down below if you want to keep it going, and subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to get notified when I'm doing new content. So at the end of the day, we should all be more like Miss E.J. Dixon at the Rolling Stone, exemplary journalist extraordinaire, and just take hardline stances on every political issue and write articles contributing to more hate and more division and more negativity in the world. That's how you get the money.